During World War II, German soldiers developed a reputation that struck fear and respect across the globe. Their combat effectiveness and professionalism were evident on every front, from the battlefields of Europe to the deserts of North Africa, from the icy expanses of the Eastern Front to the deadly waters of the Atlantic Ocean. As part of the Third Reich's war machine, these soldiers were feared not only for their military skills but also for their unwavering discipline and brutal tactics. Their reputation was built on more than just victories. It was a reputation forged in the fires of relentless warfare, where their efficiency, strength, and strategic ingenuity made them some of the most formidable forces of the war. Across these various theaters of conflict, German soldiers earned a grudging respect from their enemies. While their cause was dark and their affiliations with the Nazi regime undeniable, their battle prowess was impossible to ignore. It was this combination of fear and admiration that set the stage for the focus of this article, for soldiers who exemplified the deadly efficiency of the German army. As we dive deeper into their stories, we will explore the feats of these men who stood out even in a war defined by violence and chaos. Their individual experiences, heroism, and the sheer scale of their military accomplishments will not only illuminate their roles in the war, but also give us a glimpse into the complexities of heroism within the broader, morally fraught context of World War II. The stories of these soldiers will guide us through their unique paths of glory, defiance, and the consequences that followed. Kurt Bull, the Armor and the Tiger Tank. Kurt Bull's journey through the German Armored Corps began in the Sudetenland, a region that was once part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire and later ceded to Czechoslovakia after World War I. Born in the town of Suezov in 1917, Bull was raised in a community predominantly made up of ethnic Germans. He trained as a mechanic until the outbreak of World War II when Germany, having invaded Poland, prepared for further combat in France and against Great Britain. In 1940, Bull volunteered for military service and joined the German Armored Corps, beginning his training on outdated tanks such as the Panzer I and the Panther II. He quickly proved his worth and was assigned to the prestigious Panzer IV, one of the most formidable armored fighting vehicles of its time. Bull's skills came to the forefront during Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941. Here, his talent for tank warfare and his uncanny ability to maneuver the Panzer IV in the heat of battle earned him a reputation. His most significant feats came later, when he was given the opportunity to command a Tiger tank, a true marvel of German engineering. The Tiger's unmatched firepower and armor made it a feared weapon, and Bull wielded it with unmatched skill. He famously destroyed numerous enemy tanks, including Soviet T-34s, at long ranges, showcasing his mastery of tank tactics. One of his most extraordinary accomplishments was his ability to hold off superior numbers of enemy forces, sometimes single-handedly, to allow his comrades to retreat to safety. However, despite his exceptional abilities on the battlefield, Bull's career was stunted due to his nonconformity. His unkempt appearance and rebellious nature, including his refusal to adhere to Nazi ideals of military discipline, made him a difficult figure for the Nazi leadership to embrace. His lack of the proper image cost him promotions, and he would never rise to the rank of officer, despite his battlefield accomplishments. This contrast between his extraordinary military prowess and his overlooked status within the German military leadership highlights the complex and often ironic nature of Bull's career. As the war progressed and the tide turned against Germany, Bull's service continued in the Tiger II, the King Tiger tank. His final engagement took place in the waning days of the war, near the village of Wast, where he was fatally wounded. His official tally of 168 destroyed Allied tanks, though impressive, is believed to be an underestimation, as he often credited his victories to subordinates, boosting their morale. Bull's legacy is one of skill and defiance, a man whose talents were overshadowed by a system that valued conformity over excellence. His story provides a window into the complexities of war, where valor and rebellion often exist in uneasy tension. Knispel, the unconventional hero. Knispel's story stands out as one of defiance in the face of rigid military expectations. A soldier who never conformed to the Nazi ideal of a clean-cut, well-groomed warrior, Knispel's rebellious nature marked him as an unconventional hero. His refusal to adhere to the image of a polished soldier became most evident during a shocking act of insubordination. On one occasion, Knispel witnessed a Waffen-SS officer brutalizing a Soviet prisoner of war. Without hesitation, Knispel punched the officer in the face, a rebellious act that could have led to charges of treason. However, his battlefield prowess ultimately spared him from severe punishment. Knispel's exceptional combat skills were most evident through his remarkable tank kill count. His most iconic achievement occurred during an engagement where he destroyed a Soviet T-34 tank from an astounding distance of 3 kilometers, a feat that was nearly unheard of at the time. His uncanny ability to operate tanks, particularly the formidable Tiger tank, allowed him to outmaneuver and destroy enemy armor with unparalleled precision. His bravery and tactical intelligence on the battlefield were further exemplified when he single-handedly held off superior numbers of enemy forces, allowing his comrades to escape. Despite these accomplishments, Knispel's career was stunted due to his defiance of military norms. His failure to adhere to Nazi propaganda, coupled with his insubordinate acts, prevented him from advancing within the ranks. While his skills earned him several commendations, Knispel's nonconformity led to a lack of recognition, and he would never receive the prestigious promotions that were reserved for more obedient soldiers. Knispel's story serves as a poignant example of how personal valor can clash with the expectations of a regime, and how the cost of defiance can limit the recognition of one's remarkable contributions. His defiant spirit set him apart, making him a unique figure in the narrative of World War II. This narrative of rebellion and exceptionalism naturally leads to the story of another figure whose unique contributions would also resonate across history: Erik Hartmann, the highest-scoring Luftwaffe pilot. Erik Hartmann, the Red Baron of World War II. Erik Hartmann, known as the Red Baron of World War II, stands as the highest-scoring fighter pilot in history, with 352 aerial victories to his name. Born on April 19, 1922, in Germany, Hartmann was introduced to aviation early in life, learning to fly gliders under the tutelage of his mother, a pioneering glider pilot. His early exposure to flight fostered a natural aptitude for aerial combat, which would later propel him into the elite ranks of the Luftwaffe. Hartmann's rise to prominence within the Luftwaffe began in earnest in 1940, when he was assigned to the renowned JG-52 squadron, flying the Messerschmitt Bf 109. His skills quickly set him apart, and by 1943 he had surpassed 100 kills. His reputation grew to such an extent that the Soviets offered a substantial reward for his capture, a testament to the fear he instilled in the enemy. Among his many achievements, one of the most remarkable was his ability to maintain an extraordinarily high kill rate while avoiding death himself, despite numerous close calls. In fact, Hartmann was forced to crash-land his aircraft 16 times due to combat damage. His luck ran out, however, when he was captured by Soviet forces in 1944. While in captivity, Hartmann managed to escape by faking an injury, a daring escape that saw him return to German lines. Following the war, Hartmann's post-war years were marked by controversy. He was tried for alleged war crimes by the Soviet Union, accused of executing civilians during the war. Despite this, his trial was widely regarded as unjust, and he was acquitted posthumously in 1993. After his release, Hartmann served in the newly formed West German Air Force, where he continued his career flying American-designed aircraft, including the F-104 Starfighter, before retiring in 1970. His legacy as a war hero and skilled pilot remains undiminished, despite the complexities of his wartime affiliation. Hartmann's career reflects the intersection of extraordinary skill and contentious history, a theme that will lead naturally into the discussion of another individual whose talents were recognized for their lethal precision on the battlefield: Malthus Heitzner, the sniper. Malthus Heitzner, the legendary sniper. Malthus Heitzner, a German sniper of remarkable skill, became known for his deadly precision on the Eastern Front, where he accumulated a staggering 345 kills. Born on December 23, 1924, in the idyllic alpine village of Brixen im Pfeil, Heitzner's early life was shaped by his father, who taught him to shoot as the family relied on self-sufficiency in their rural lifestyle. At the age of 17, Heitzner was drafted into the German army as World War II intensified, specifically during the brutal fighting on the Eastern Front. Initially trained to operate artillery and mortar weapons, Heitzner's exceptional marksmanship quickly caught the attention of his superiors, who transferred him to a sniper unit. In this role, Heitzner hunted Soviet snipers, often working behind enemy lines, where danger loomed at every turn. The sniper warfare he engaged in was both physically and mentally taxing, but Heitzner's abilities set him apart. His skill was exemplified in one of his most famous shots, where he eliminated a Soviet soldier from an incredible distance of 1,100 yards, or roughly 10 football fields. Despite the tremendous risks of his job, Heitzner's success on the battlefield remained unparalleled. Over the course of just 10 months in combat, he became one of the most feared snipers of the war. However, as the war drew to a close, Heitzner's luck ran out. After Germany's surrender, he was captured by Soviet forces, who placed him in a harsh prison camp along with other German prisoners. Heitzner endured appalling conditions, but he survived, and in 1950 he was released. Following his release, Heitzner returned to Austria, where he retrained as a carpenter. Despite leaving the world of warfare behind, his legacy as one of the deadliest snipers of World War II lived on. Heitzner's precision and his role in sniper combat left an indelible mark on military history, one that continues to be remembered even as his post-war life remained relatively quiet. His story contrasts sharply with that of Otto Kretschmer, whose naval command would lead us into a discussion of U-boat warfare. Otto Kretschmer, the U-boat commander. Otto Kretschmer was one of the most accomplished U-boat commanders of World War II, known for his exceptional success in sinking merchant ships across the Atlantic and beyond. Born on May 1, 1912 in what was then Prussian Silesia, Kretschmer joined the German Navy in the early 1930s. His naval career began with the U-boat fleet, and by 1939, he was aboard U-23, a German submarine patrolling the North Sea and the British coastline. Kretschmer's rise to fame came as the commander of U-99, a Type WWII U-boat, in 1940. Under his command, U-99 became notorious for its ability to sink British merchant ships, contributing significantly to the disruption of Allied supply lines. His remarkable victories included sinking several armed merchant cruisers and large merchant vessels, such as the 18,724-ton HMS Lyric and the 16,400-ton HMS Forfil, among others. His prowess in U-boat warfare earned him the respect of both his peers and adversaries. By the end of 1940, Kretschmer had sunk over 200,000 tons of enemy shipping, a remarkable feat that solidified his reputation as one of the most successful U-boat commanders in the history of the war. However, Kretschmer's career took a turn in March 1941 when his U-99 was severely damaged during a battle with British escorts. Despite the damage, Kretschmer managed to keep the U-99 operational, only for the vessel to eventually be sunk after a series of depth charge attacks. Kretschmer and his crew were taken prisoner by the British, marking a significant turning point in his war efforts. He spent nearly 7 years in captivity before his release in 1947. After the war, Kretschmer's life took an unexpected turn. He joined the newly established West German Navy and later enjoyed a long and successful career in the post-war military. Ironically, a man who had once been responsible for sending countless enemy ships to the ocean's depths met his end in a seemingly mundane accident. Kretschmer died in 1985, tragically drowning in a boating accident while on holiday, a fittingly ironic conclusion to the life of one of WWII's most successful and feared naval commanders. His post-war service and tragic end provide a poignant contrast to his time on the high seas during the war. The legacies of the four soldiers discussed, Malthus Heitzner, Otto Kretschmer, and others, highlight a complex interplay of military prowess and moral ambiguity. Each of these men demonstrated extraordinary skills in their respective roles, whether as a sniper, a tank commander, or a U-boat captain. Their battlefield achievements were undeniably impressive, earning them a reputation for effectiveness and bravery in combat. Yet, the context in which they fought the Nazi regime casts a long shadow over their legacies. While they may be regarded as heroes by some for their tactical brilliance, their association with Nazi Germany complicates any straightforward glorification. These soldiers' actions, while remarkable on a tactical level, were also entwined with a cause that led to immense suffering and destruction. Their heroism, therefore, exists within a morally complex framework that must be acknowledged when reflecting on their contributions. Today, the stories of these soldiers shape our understanding of World War II. They serve as a reminder that military skill and personal heroism can be clouded by the larger political and moral landscapes in which they occur. Their legacy forces us to grapple with the question of how to reconcile respect for military proficiency with the broader, often tragic consequences of their actions. Ultimately, their stories are a lens through which we can reflect on the complexities of war, heroism, and history itself.